Alright, this is my first official devlog. So let me just give you a little overview. Well, give myself a little overview. The main purpose of these videos is for me to sort of track my progress, see where I started. I suspect this might be like one of those daily diary things that I tend to try and keep, and then within the first 2 days I just entirely stop. So we'll see if I actually carry on with this more than the first 2 or 3 videos. So for some context, you see open in the window here is Godot. I have followed a Udemy course, which I opened here in the background. Terrific. I highly recommend this. The guy talks quite fast, so I had to put the speed down to 0.75, but the content is terrific. I followed the course. It took me a couple of days. It's not even that much. I think it's like 25 hours or something. Don't see the total time here, but it's terrific. I really enjoyed it. So I followed this entire course from start to finish, and I've been watching some videos on GD Quest, which focus on Godot development. Now, the course that I finished pretty much gave me this little platformer over here. If I just play the scene, it's a character that you can control. I added some additional things like the key, wasn't part of the course. So you see, if I try to finish the game or rather the level without the key, I need to go collect the key first. Oh, I discovered a bug, so I can't restart the controller anyway. So if I just restart, oh, that also didn't work. Anyway, okay, so that's sort of where we left off in the course. It feels pretty good. Like I'm quite happy with the controls. I've been playing a lot of Celeste, Super Meat Boy, and some other 2D platformers to sort of get a feeling of what I want from the platformer control-wise, and I'm fairly happy with this. Of course, it can still be tweaked. I've had a couple of friends play tested. There was a camera shake on the double jump, which was a bit strange, didn't feel quite right. But other than that, I was pretty happy with it. Now the graphics come from the Kenny assets, which are public domain and totally free, but I'd like to change that as well. Some other things that I added, if I can maybe take a second to just log this down for myself, is a retractable door. So if I put the player over here, and in the way of the player, let's just paint, I think it was 1, 2, 3 pixels high. So let's make 3 pixels space here so we can't jump over this. So let's say I want to get to, oh, it needs to be 2, right? Because it's the auto tiling wasn't properly set up, but that was my fault. Okay, then I can instantiate a lever. Well, actually, let's do a retractable door and then put the lever as part of that. So let's position the door over here. Then for decoration, I'm just gonna paint a rope like so. And then as a child of this, I need to instance a lever, and that automatically links this lever to the door. So any interactions with the lever will now trigger this door. So I don't have to worry about linking it any other way. This lever, when it turns on, which is to the right hand side, will automatically retract this door. And you can see if I play this lever, of course I can't get through, and open up the lever, I can get through. You can also close it, and I put a state on the door, so while it's opening, you can't spam the open button. It won't get any weird animations there. Yeah, there's an enemy that we added in the course, but I'm not going to go into that now. But I'm feeling a little uninspired at this point. I feel like I've finished the course, and I've added some additional mechanics like a key and the retractable door. It was actually quite easy, but I think that's greatly due to the course content that was in. It gave me a really good idea of how objects interact and how GD script works. I'm personally not a big fan of languages without curly braces. The main reason why I've never picked up Python is I can't quite get used to the syntax. But admittedly, GDScript is so good, it's so well integrated into the engine, it makes sense just to use GDScript. So I sort of bear with it. You can see this was sort of in the beginning of the course, but if you open up something like the lever, I hope, yeah, letting the lever put the retractable door. But at some point, I started playing around with the types. But there are some oh, here we go. So here you can see I started playing around with some types. And that's another thing that I'm not crazy about. I quite like when I can see types and it's not inferred from another variable. Because if I don't pass this in here, I have no way of understanding what is this, what is collected. Is it a number? Is it a bool? Is it an object? So I'm kind of happy that it at least has some sort of typing that I can use. But yeah, I think the main point of this log is just feeling a little uninspired. I've looked at some artwork on itch.io, even considered just buying some assets, but I don't know. I've got this Trello board as well, right there. I sort of started adding some to-dos. So the design is over there. I want to add the timer, but I think I'm just getting distracted with things to add. Cool enemies and checkpoints to the levels, where I should really be focusing on just fine-tuning what I have. And publishing the first game, it's not going to be an amazing game, it's not going to be the greatest game that revolutionizes anything. I mean, that's not the point of this hobby, it's just to enjoy it. But yeah, I think I'm getting a little distracted, so maybe I should focus on knocking off some of these mechanic items that I have to score. Enemies can also go down, because I do have an enemy. Same with this, parallax backgrounds, that should also sort of be a nice to have, I think. And credits, I'd like to give credit to its due, so Kenny NL and the course creator, of course I'd like to thank them for the credits. And then my own efforts for adding the additional stuff. Yeah, I think that's good enough for the first log. It's just sort of a starting point for my mind. Maybe it's good to say them out loud. Just to start. Oh, here you can see the enemy, so that's actually, you can die. Start the level. But if you do a dash, you can actually destroy the enemy, and then it respawns there. Interestingly, this I should stop the exhaust. Statically come from the ground and not do that. Alright, so there's a bug to add. We can add that to our log here. Enemy reset velocity after death. Move that to the top. This should probably be first. This is a bit nasty little bug. Score, I mean, so you can collect coins in the game and open the keys, use the keys to open the doors, but I don't know, the coins don't really add anything, any value, so add value to coins. You know, you need to motivate the player. Why is he collecting coins? What's the point of collecting a coin? Point of collecting a coin. But I guess that opens up the door for too many other discussions. You know, what do you do with the coins? Do you use it to unlock certain doors? Do you use it to, you know, do something interesting? I don't know. That might be a nice to have. I don't think that should be top of the list. So let's take a look here. We've got some things that are interesting. if we were to look at our list, I don't know if you can see this, let's zoom in a bit. Well, let's look at this one. Let's look at resetting the velocity. That should be pretty easy. Enemy death. So we've got a separate scene for the enemy death, and all we do here is we play the sounds. So there's two sounds that get played, and there's an animation also that plays, and then it gets destroyed. So I think the spawn is maybe also a separate scene. I can't remember. That's just the timer. So a lot of this comes from the course. Call deferred spawn enemy. So when it times out, check enemy spawn. Current enemy node creates a new instance. Okay, so we instantiate an enemy. We start a direction. We get the parent and add a node, and I think we should reset the velocity somewhere. But I don't know, is the velocity exposed on the enemy? Let's take a look. Oops. The easiest would probably be just to reset the velocity back to 0 when we create the enemy. Let's try that. Right. So we don't have to put any if statements or anything. We can just say velocity. I wonder why the player is using the velocity. Because he's being freshly created. I don't think this is going to make a difference. Don't think this is going to make a difference. Which level was that? I think it was the second one. No, I was messing around with some level designs, but they weren't particularly good, as you can see. Yeah, there it is. There's the enemy goalpost and the spawner. So let's play this scene. Enemy spawner. So we create a new enemy node. Start direction shouldn't have an effect on the speed. And we set the global position. So we set the global position. I wonder if it, right, if it's spawning, maybe this never gets set properly. I don't think that ever gets set. Is spawning, defaults to true. Right, interesting. So I'm wondering where we set this. Where do we set this to false? Because it initializes to true. If we're spawning, we return, so we shouldn't move. But somewhere, interesting. Where do we set is spawning to false? I just don't know. In the animation player? Ah, there it is. There it is. So this is the default animation, spawn animation. We'll probably quit Steam, right? So what we should in fact do spawn, it's got a long spawn, there we do default it to off, right? So it starts off as off. So when the default animation starts playing in the enemy, we reset the spawning to false. So where do we start playing the default animation? Right, so here's where we destroy. So once we get killed, so many questions. Spawn, create an enemy, set the global position, initialized, and I think we set it up so it plays the default animation. Right, so that's the default animation, and it just loops. But autoplay is set for this one. I think what we could do is say property track, the enemy is spawning, insert a key here and make sure it's on. This is spawn enemy. Let's take a look at this one, see if that works. There we go, that was it. Okay, so somehow I missed setting the spawning property on the enemy, but now we can see we set it when the animation starts, the spawn animation, and I'm not going to add it there because in the idle animation we set it back to false. Bug fix done. Nice, let's move it there. Let's put a comment. Forgot to set is spawning to true on enemy scene, on enemy spawn animation. Oh, right, you can put code snippets in here, right? Is spawning. Bug done. All right, what else can we do? I don't know, I'm not ready. I need to go do some research before I tackle that one. Level complete restart not working. So if I am, let's just play the game from the beginning. Start the game. If I go to play and finish this level, if I say restart, it's supposed to restart this level. There's a little glitch too that I don't know what happened. You can see it goes to the next level. So we have a scene here called level complete, and I think I might have, because the controller integration wasn't part of the course, I did that on my own entirely, so there might be some silly bugs here and there. So if input is UI accept, on continue pressed, there it is, right? So UI accept is the A button, so it's intercepting this, and it doesn't matter which one is highlighted. It's just, yeah, this is definitely it. I don't know how to change this then. Right, so how do I know which button is focused on? This is where my limited knowledge of GDScript and Godot in itself actually comes in, right? So how do I, is there a UI accept event for these. Oh, this seems silly, but in Godot script, or GD script as it's called, you have to use this return value and put an underscore to tell the engine that you're not going to use it. If I were to remove, let's say, this one, it should pop up a warning somewhere at some point. Oh, there it is. Return value discarded. So it's not an error message, but it is kind of annoying. So I just put these little, let's say controller rpress equals to margin container, too far, continue. So let's do restart button dot connect. So we're connecting to an event. Let's see, button down, button up, draw. Is there a UI? No, it doesn't look like it. Button down, draw, focus, entered, GUI input? No, I don't think so. Pressed. Might have to go look at the docs. Let's do that. So the GD script docs are actually pretty good. And I am using 4.3, so that is correct. Let's look at input. Let's see, input. Is this the wrong input? Singleton that deals with inputs. Action pressed. Action release, add joy mapping. Get joy button string, get joy access. How do I get the item that was clicked on? That's what I'm wondering. I don't see anything. Let's look for button. Oops, got to hit enter there. Button, let's take a look at button. So you can make a new button, text, click me, connect, pressed, button pressed, add child. I wonder if it'll just work without it. Maybe, I actually don't know if I tested this. Let's get rid of this. And I wonder if I can actually just use the, oh, that's gonna fail because I'm not passing the process function. Stop, save, so play the scene. Let's see. Yeah, oh my goodness. So, that was the easy fix. Okay, so I don't need this, so get rid of that. This actually over here, make sure that the continue button is focused initially. So when the scene loads, it doesn't have a, no button focused. Also, this enables the controller navigation. If you don't focus a button first, you can't actually navigate with the controller. Cool bananas. Let's try that again. I should now be able to restart a scene. 2 bugs squashed. That's solved that problem, so let's move that over as well. Score, oh, I'm going to move that down, right? Because what do you calculate the score on? The time. For the time we need this elapsed time. I've got a timer running at the moment, but it's not fully functioning. So it's currently running. So let's add a checklist there. To do. Wow. To do. So it is currently running. So I can run the timer per level. That's working. Show time on level complete. That's not working. Keep track of time somehow. this sort of falls in with a save game. I don't know if I actually have this anywhere, but this ties in with checkpoints, and then also save game. So Godot has some really cool save features, but there are some known security risks with the save game, and it's actually this channel over here that made me aware of this. Here we go. So they've got some really cool you can see I watched this one recently. They've got some really cool videos. I don't actually know how big the zoom is for you guys, so let me zoom. Well, for me, because I have to watch this later and see if I changed or progressed. Not changed. All right, I think I'm gonna stop there. This felt semi-productive. I squashed 2 tiny little bugs. I think I have some direction now. Yeah, this is feeling a little better. I don't know. I think I should just leave it at that. I'm really tempted to continue working on this, but I do have limited hard drive space. I haven't actually needed more than 500 gigs in total for some time, because everything I do is either on Git or on OneDrive. So I didn't really need any storage. But recording videos, of course, takes a little more space. So I'm tempted to try this timer thing. But again, the timer is currently working. But yeah, let's do that. Let's do the timer. Actually, let's do one more thing. So let's open the timer. Played timer, I think that's the right one. And it's pretty straightforward. I start with the current Unix time. I get the time that it is at this point. So every frame. Can I zoom in a little bit? So every frame I get the current time, and then the time now and the time that was started. So I deduct what it is now and when we started to get the elapsed time. So how much time has passed since we started this whole process. Well, it would be per level, right? So this would run when the level initializes. And then I just simply update this with a format time, which is an underscore here, so it's a private function. And I pass in the elapsed time. This would, of course, be in milliseconds. No, it's not milliseconds. It's a timestamp, right? Unix time, that's a timestamp. Sorry, I'm being such a dum-dum. Then I calculate the minutes. Yeah, it's milliseconds. I'm not losing my mind. I wrote it right there. I doubted myself for a moment there. I calculate the minutes by dividing by 60, and then I use the modulo operator to calculate the seconds, and I simply use this interpolation in GDScript. The minutes goes there, seconds goes there. And then I return the elapsed time, and that will just simply be added over there. And again, this is really frustrating to me because I'm not sure what the types will be, right? Is this, let's see, maybe it gives me some type ins. I haven't actually taken the effort to see. Int, it returns an integer, all right? I actually know how to get out of the docs. Back, there. So this is an integer. So let's put some types in here, which means this will also result in an integer. This should then return a string because I want to add it to a label. And I'm not doing any parsing over here. Plus, I do believe this, I think that makes it a string automatically. So I don't think we need to do this. I'm not familiar with GDScript that much. I mean, I did this one course, which I showed you, and that's it. I didn't do anything else. And that, of course, is that. So let's initialize this as an int as well. And this will be a void function because I'm not returning anything. And I don't know what the return type for a string is. Is it uppercase? Let's see. It's not complaining. There we go. Time's running. So how do we then get this time to display? We'll have to keep track of it somewhere. We'll have to keep the elapsed time string, store it somewhere, make it a public variable, and rather than initializing it there, let's do time elapsed, sorry, let's type int and initialize it to 0, and then instead of redefining the type, we can just do that. And this way I should now be able to access this variable in other places, like the level complete UI. Right, so level complete. Oh right, I just instantiate a child of the coin counter, but we should be able then to stop once this is shown, so the time doesn't run anymore. So let's so vertical box, H box. So let's duplicate this. Let's rename this to H box time. Coins collected label we can rename to time label, and let's change the text here, time, and I'll sort that out. So let's delete this because we don't want the coins, of course, to show by the time. Then we instantiate the timer. But now this is where it's a problem, right? Oh, there's also, ooh. Yeah, so we don't actually want this. We should probably then remove the, some oversights there on my part, because the time already has an outline, that doesn't have an outline, so maybe we can see if we can put the font's outline there. We've got an override here somewhere, font, and let's go to our resources folder, and we've got an outline font, and let's put that there. Okay, so now it's the same. Actually, now this is going to force me to do that as well, so it can all sort of look okay. Let's do theme overrides, fonts, and also throw that font in there. Ugh. Doesn't look great, but it should be consistent at least. Now, I think what's going to happen, the problem is, I think that timer is going to continue running, of course. I'm not stopping it. The game is being paused. Adapt. The game is being paused, I think, but I don't know if it pauses the timer. Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh, it actually restarts. Okay, so that's okay. I'll have to fix that somehow. Okay, see, my dog beside me is getting a little bored. His name is Oliver. He's a Jack Russell. He loves lying in the window and barking at life. Note to future selves, don't get a Jack Russell. Okay, they're great. A little hard to control sometimes, but great overall. Especially when you've adopted. Okay, let's take a look here. So the time is restarted, right? We don't want the timer to restart. So how do the coins not do that? How do the coins know not to reset to 0? Is there some magic script that I run in here? On coin total change, update, coin label. I don't know. I think it's because we instance it there, we immediately start. Ah, here it is. Coin counter get node base level. If there is a base level, aha. Interesting. I might have to duplicate some of this logic for now. Of course it can yeah, I think I just have to take this. But it's problematic because I'm starting the timer. Yeah, well, don't worry about this. We'll figure that out in a sec. I'm starting the timer. So we get the base level. And then the base level has an event, coin total changed, which I connect to. I don't think it's going to be useful. what we could check, base level. There should be a on level complete. If we can emit a complete event, coin key collector, let's say signal level completed. If we can emit that signal, emit signal level completed. We don't need the time because we already have this. This was just an old method that we had in the video. We don't need this anymore. We can hook into this, I believe, but then we need to do the base level again. So then we need this part. I don't know if this is going to solve it now that I'm thinking about it. So let's say level, not base level. What's that event called? Level complete. Let's say level complete on level completed. Let's put a function here. So the GDScript standards actually said add 2 spaces between your functions and variables. So I'm trying to learn the best practices. So on level complete is a void function. But here we should be able to say stop timer. I don't know why I didn't just use a timer. I think there was a reason, because the timer in Godot is a countdown timer. It's not actually a timer to count upwards, it's to count backwards. So let's say stop timer is a bool, and that's false. And here we say stop timer equals true. And then if not stop timer, yeah, miss my curly braces. And maybe this could solve some of the problems. I'm missing some logic, I'm sure, but let's take a look at this first and see what we get. Let's see if the timer can actually stop and display the time that it currently has. It reinitializes completely, causing it to reset to 0, which is my suspicion. I think a new instance will just reset to 0 and it will use the same instance. So I'll have to get the time. Yeah, right, so it completely restarted. It's not like it's the same instance being shared. So I'll have to get the current time from the base level somehow. Because that doesn't work at all. Somehow I should be able to get the current time from here. If we don't use it, let's get rid of it. It's pretty easy to add back, so let's not have unnecessary signals firing off. Let's adhere to the 2 spaces after a function standard that I recommended. This is still code that I did from the course directly, so I'm not having that time to clean that up. Alright, so let's think about this. This timer is running independently on its own. It updates the label and it just sort of continues on and on and on. When we get to the level complete screen, which is now totally gone. So let's open the complete. When we get to this screen, whenever this is initialized, we reinitialize a timer, which is not good. I don't think we should try and use this scene. We should do instead what probably is a good idea is creating a new scene, which is time complete, level complete time. right? But that's too ambiguous. That sounds similar to what we have, which is the played timer. That's too similar, I think, in the name. Played timer and level complete time. I should probably just Google this, but I feel like I want to solve this on my own. I want to get some sort of thing working. I don't know. I think I'll just make a new scene. But the base level will somehow then have to, whoops. The base level will somehow have to know about that then. Yeah, okay, well, let's deal with it later. I'm gonna take a break now. I think that's enough for today.